Hey boys, it's HarmNone. Today I'm going to be going over my picks for the top 10 best electric cars in GTA Online. Now, since the last time I did one of these videos, we've actually had a ton of electric cars added into Grand Theft Auto Online, and not only just electric cars, but pretty significant electric cars at that actually do quite a bit for the game, that change things around, and that actually deserve to be on this list. The last time that I made one of these, it was, listing basically all the electric cars that were in the game, whereas this time, the list is a little bit more thought through, and there's a lot more electric vehicles to choose from, so it's a better list overall. Anyways, if you enjoyed the video, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. I'm going for 300,000 subs this year, so if you want to help me out with getting to that goal, consider subscribing as long as you enjoy my content. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with number 10. At number 10, we have an OG vehicle, and this is of course the Coil Voltic, and this week it's actually available to be purchased within the LS car meet, because regularly it is a removed vehicle now, so you can't purchase it off of Legendary Motorsport, for example, and there are going to be a few removed vehicles on this list, but the Coil Voltic is a pretty awesome one, and for only $150,000, this thing has pretty impressive performance. The acceleration is absolutely awesome, and the launch is really good too. It only has an engine upgrade, I do believe, which does kind of suck, but it is an electric vehicle, so you are going to find that with most of them on this list. Now, the Coil Voltic also has a little bit in the way of customization, which is always nice to have, of course, and I generally think it's a pretty good looking vehicle. There was a lot of debate when this thing first came out, whether it was based on the Tesla Roadster, the original Tesla Roadster, or if it was based on a Lotus of sorts. And I think there's a bit of truth to both of those things, but I do think it is based off of the old Tesla Roadster more so. Overall, it's a pretty good vehicle, definitely one that I would recommend picking up, especially seeing as how it's available this week in GTA Online anyways. I think it's definitely a worthy purchase, and for only 150k, you really cannot go wrong with the Coil Voltic. At number 9, we have another Coil vehicle, and this is the Cyclone. The Cyclone goes for $1,890,000, which is kind of on the expensive end of things, but you do get some pretty good performance out of it. It's all-wheel drive, which is super sick, very helpful, meaning that you get a great launch as well as really good acceleration up to a relatively lower top speed, because of course it is an electric vehicle, so it was kind of bound to happen. This is based on the Rimac Concept 1, I do believe, at least largely, and the customization for this thing is actually pretty good, and the handling for an electric car is actually really, really good. It's a very cool vehicle, it's very cool looking, the customization fits perfectly with the vehicle itself. It's a fun car to drive, it's very quick, like I said. There's not any bad things about the Coil Cyclone that I would recommend, not purchasing it over. The only thing that I really strike an issue with is the price. I think the price is a little bit on the high side for what you're getting, especially nowadays, but it is still a pretty good vehicle, so if you're interested, I would say that I do recommend it. At number 8, we have the brand new overflawed Pipistrello coming in at $2,950,000. This vehicle, I can't help but feel like, is a little bit on the underwhelming side, which does kind of suck, because I think we were all really excited for this car to come out. I think when we saw it in the trailer and in the concept for the DLC, we all thought that this thing was going to be really, really awesome, like most of the other overflawed vehicles in GTA Online. But unfortunately, it's not really that great. The handling is kind of broken with the spoiler options from what I hear, and for $2,950,000, the performance just does not back up that price tag. It is actually crazy that this thing costs that much. Another thing that really bothers me about it is that they reused a ton of customization options on this vehicle from other vehicles, which just really sucks. I think for this price, you're getting scammed, and I would definitely not recommend purchasing the overflawed Pipistrello unless you're balling out of control. But it is still a cool vehicle. It is a cool electric car. It definitely fits in on this list. I think you can make it look really nice. I just can't necessarily recommend it for most players in GTA Online, just simply because of how expensive it is. But with that being said, it is still kind of a good vehicle at the same time, so it had to make the list. At number 7, we have one of the coolest looking vehicles in GTA Online at this point, and it is of course the Bloons and Visage. Now this thing goes for $2,472,000, and similar to the Pipistrello, I think you're kind of getting scammed when it comes to this car. However, it is absolutely phenomenal looking, and the customization options that it has are fantastic. It is a really cool car in those two metrics. The price tag though is way too high, But if you got the money for it, I can't say like don't get it. It's kind of similar to the Pipistrello. If you have the money, it's maybe worth it to buy it, depending on how much you like the look of the actual car itself. Now, unfortunately, the Balkan Envisage doesn't have the fastest acceleration or top speed or anything like that, and the handling isn't that awesome either, but the looks for me carry this car so far, and I felt like it was deserving of being on the list just because of how cool of a vehicle it actually is. I wish it was a little bit better for the price tag, but you can't win them all. It does have a Monty Tech though, which does help a lot, so you can at least have the missile lock-on jammer on the vehicle. Number 6, we have a car that is insanely fast, the Coil Cyclone 2. Now this is only available on the new generation of GTA Online, so the Xbox Series S and X or PlayStation 5, and it's going to run you $2,250,000 for the base car, which I believe is based off of the Rimac Nevera, which is pretty cool, and it's going to cost you an additional $475 grand for the HSW upgrade to make it that much quicker. This thing is insanely fast without HSW, and when you put HSW on it, it is so quick that it's actually almost impossible to drive, to be completely honest. With HSW, this car cannot turn. It's got so much power that it literally cannot turn. It really takes a toll on the handling when you put the HSW on this vehicle. So if you can get it on your platform, I would say maybe just purchase the car and don't buy HSW, because I think that you will actually genuinely regret getting the HSW upgrade, because you're never going to want to drive the car with HSW, which is super unfortunate. It's got some really nice customization and some really good looks overall. I think it's a great car, just maybe don't buy the HSW upgrade for it because it will get ruined. And number 5, we have the Obey Omni or Omnis EGT, coming in at $1,795,000, and this was added with the Criminal Enterprises DLC in the summer of 2022, and it is an absolutely fantastic Imani Tech capable, armor plating having, oil slick dropping, bulletproof window 4-door electric vehicle in GTA Online. This thing is fantastic. The acceleration is great, the launch is awesome, the top speed is not that awesome, but beyond that, this thing is super sick. The customization is great for it as well. This is one that I would highly recommend picking up if you guys do not have one already somehow. It can take 12 RPGs or 12 homing missiles, and that coupled with the missile lock-on jammer in the first place, you're basically invincible in this car. It is really good, guys, and I would definitely recommend picking this one up. You literally cannot go wrong with owning this car. At number 4, we have the Pfister Neon, coming in at $1,500,000. The Pfister Neon is based off of the Porsche Taycan Turbo, and it is a really cool car in GTA. Now, unfortunately, not a hell of a lot in the way of customization. However, the performance is pretty good, particularly the launch, and the top speed as far as electric vehicles go is actually okay. This thing kind of suffers in the handling department a little bit though. As with most other electric cars in GTA Online, they just don't ever handle like they probably should. Or maybe like they do in real life, which is to say they're really heavy. Not really 100% sure, but the Pfister Neon's a 4-door electric sports car. This thing actually shreds in a straight line. It's super sick. In the corners, not as good, and the customization is a little bit lackluster on it, but I feel like the performance overall is generally quite good, and I think that definitely gets it number 4 on this list, in my opinion at least. Number 3, we have the Panaud Le Carousse, coming in at $1,990,000 for the initial purchase price, plus an additional $818,000 for the HSW upgrade that is available for the vehicle depending on the platform that you play on. With HSW, this is the fastest sports car in Grand Theft Auto Online around circuits, making it really good to use. At least the fastest electric sports car around circuits, and it may be slightly slower than the Ubermacht Niobe, which was also added pretty recently with HSW on it. But this thing's super good, especially in the corners. The downforce this thing gets is crazy. It's based off the Renault 5, but an electric version of it, which is pretty interesting, kind of cool. Overall, definitely a vehicle that I would look into if you guys are interested. It's also insane off-road for the record, and it's only rear-wheel drive as well, which is pretty crazy to see and think about. The Panaud is super sick. The customization is really unique and quite awesome on it as well. I can't really recommend it enough. It's actually a really good car. So definitely check into the Pinaud Le Carousse if you guys are interested. At number 2, we have the Ocelot Virtue. You knew it was going to show up on this list somewhere along the line, and it goes for $2,235,000 if you got the trade price. If you don't, it's going to be $2,980,000. But of course, you can also get it for free by completing the first and last dose missions from the Los Santos Drug Wars DLC. So do keep that in mind. You can get this thing for free. It can take 12 RPGs, 12 homing missiles. It's got the armor plating, Imani tech, and it is the fastest accelerating vehicle on any platform that is not new gen for GTA Online. So it's crazy quick. It's a pretty good looking vehicle. My biggest gripe with it is that the handling isn't that awesome. However, the acceleration is that awesome. And the top speed is okay. It's around 120 miles per hour, which is not too bad. But overall, the Ocelot Virtue is a great vehicle, and it's definitely one you can't go wrong with owning, especially since you technically can actually get paid to get it at the end of those last dose missions after you complete the first and last dose missions from the Drug Wars DLC. For an honorable mention, we have a very OG vehicle in the Hijack Chameleon, coming in at $100,000. A lot of people won't have even seen the Chameleon because it is so old, and it's actually a pretty decent car. Now, technically, it's actually a hybrid because it says it has a V12 on it and it has exhaust ports, but it doesn't really make much in the way of sound. So overall, a really cool car. I think it's based pretty heavily off the Fisker Karma in real life, which is kind of a neat car. It's got solar panels in the roof, which I believe is unique to this car. I don't think there's any other vehicles that really have that in GTA Online. The handling is pretty good. The acceleration is decent as well. Overall, it's a pretty good car, and for only 100 grand, you can't really go wrong with a Hijack Chameleon. But at number 1, we have the Bravado Buffalo EVX coming in at $2,140,000. This thing has Imani tech capabilities, meaning it has the missile lock-on jammer as well as the armor plating upgrade and the oil slick proximity mine dropper. Now it also has an HSW upgrade available for it, coming in at $1,415,000 for HSW. These two things combined on this car make it easily the best electric car in Grand Theft Auto Online. It's super awesome. You can't really go wrong with purchasing a Bravado Buffalo STX. Now, it is extremely expensive, but you are getting what you're paying for. The top speed's insane with that HSW upgrade. It's also all-wheel drive, so it gets a really good launch and great acceleration as well. Overall, you can't go wrong with a Buffalo EVX. It's pretty awesome. The customization is nice. The performance backs it up. The looks are pretty decent as well. Overall, I'd say definitely purchase one of these if you guys are interested. Anyway, guys, there you have it. That's been it for my picks for the top 10 electric cars in Grand Theft Auto Online. If you guys enjoyed this video, if you learned something, a like is of course appreciated. If not, dislike. Subscribe to my channel if you guys are new, and I will see you all in the next video. Until then, take care. Peace.